We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Darkside. Been a little while. Got a new year. Some new people in. I always kind of worry about bringing somebody in here who's known me a long time because, usually I'm the one that gets to tell the stories from way back. But today I got attorney Paul Reed from Reed and Reed, a new sponsor of Tales from the Darkside. Very good family friend, and I appreciate you coming out today, Paul.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, family friend, definitely.
A lot of history, huh?
From the beginning.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's kind of where I want to start. What I like to do when I do these podcasts is not get right into what you're doing now, but just kind of letting people know where you came from and some of the things that you did as you were growing up, and like, where did it all start? Where did Paul Reed start the and I want y'all to know something. The reason why I'm so bad could be from people I hung out with. But I'm not saying that, for sure. But it could have some influence there.
Well, that would be my brother Keith.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So you all, I met you in Brandon. Is that where you were born and raised? Or?
Yeah, 203 Larson Avenue, 6 houses down from Horseman. Mike and the Mahoneys lived on Clemens, which is 2 or 3 blocks north of that. And then my grandma and grandpa lived basically out their back door on Rozier. And so
we had that whole corner hemmed up.
Yeah, since it seemed like birth. It wasn't, but certainly the
long time.
At least the early teens.
Paul was real good friends with my brother, Mark Mahoney, and that's kind of how, like I tell everybody, I was so bad. Whenever one of the kids got the permission to go somewhere else, it was like, you need to take him with you. Oh, he's got two brothers, and oh yeah, take him with you. You're not staying at home by yourself. And that's what ended up. I remember, the basketball tournaments.
Yep. HCRD.
Well, I'm talking about the ones at your house.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we had some good ones. Your brother Jody, always, there playing sports with us, right?
Yeah, our house, your house, and the Staleys.
Yeah.
We all had the basketball hoops that we played at basically all the time.
Yeah. I remember my brother got in that one-on-one competition and did real well. My dad put that court in the backyard. And you were, a big part of our family then. He got it put in the backyard, 2 full-size goals. And what'd we do? We stuck an 8-foot rim on the other side of it.
So we could dunk.
Never played on the other basketball hoops. We did, but in reality, I think that 8-foot rim got a little more use than the 10-footers.
Oh, for sure. And then over at Brian's was the 6.5-footer.
Oh, it's even better.
We were king of the jungle there, slam dunking and tearing it up.
That's right. So you played sports in Brandon. You played for Brandon High School baseball, did real well. All 3 years played there?
Yeah, back then, remember, there weren't freshmen, so it was sophomore, junior, and senior, so I was fortunate enough to make the team as a sophomore. First game we played Hillsboro. Unfortunately for Duke Selden, he made 4 errors and was banished to the outfield for the rest of his career. And I started at second base thereafter.
Right, and you had a brother that was ahead of you. Now, did you play ball with him?
Yeah, Jode was a senior.
Right.
He was the shortstop, and I was the second baseman.
That's awesome.
So it was good. Yeah, playing with him was good. He went on to greater things in the old baseball world.
Yeah, Jody did real well. I think at one time, and probably still is, one of the most famous people I've ever known just because he was a Major League Baseball player. I got to see him in Boston play when we were up there.
Yeah, 11 years. God bless. The Lord blessed us. I don't know why, but He did.
It happened. And you went on to play college.
A little Florida college right there in Temple Terrace. It was fun. Had a good time. Shoulder didn't
paid for
work
an
out.
education, right?
Yep, definitely. It was fun. It was a good time. I think you have a relative as well, right? A nephew that played there, right? Woodkey?
Yeah, Woodkey played. Yeah, he played, kind of bounced all over, but he was a heck of a ball player too. And thinking about those memories, we get to see it sometimes, like the Saladino tournament.
Yep.
That really brings you back, and a lot of people don't understand how long that's been going on. And that was a great deal back then for us to see it and all you guys playing, and it was always something to do.
Yeah, 1981 was the first one, and
Yeah.
we lost to Dwight Gooden and Vance Lovelace in the finals.
Yeah,
Hillsborough High. Yeah, no, it's been around forever. I don't know how long that is.
So did
but,
you hit Gooden?
You know, it's funny you say that because that first game where Duke Selden kind of got banished and I got put in, I don't know if I weighed 135 pounds. I come up to bat and I hit a dribbler. When I say a dribbler,
Put it in play though.
Oh, up the middle. It was a base hit.
Hey,
Up
off
the middle,
Gooden.
and that was the.
I bet the stands went nuts too.
Wow.
I mean, even back then as a kid, I knew Gooden was smoke.
Oh, he was throwing
I mean,
95 miles an hour.
Throwing BBs.
Yeah.
How could you even see it just to put it in play?
Well, I'm sure my eyes were closed.
Yeah. You swung level, right? You got a piece of it. That's what matters.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I remember I only had 8 hits the rest of the year, that whole year.
Didn't
so,
matter.
Yeah, I had
I
the
hit
one.
off Gooden. That's all you got to say. I got him,
Yeah,
you know.
I hear you.
We didn't talk about the second at bat or the third at bat, but that first one.
Don't
we got
even
a base
remember
hit.
it.
Yeah. Some good times back then, Paul. Then from there, what'd you do? Never went to pros, never messed with any of that?
No.
Talked to any of them, or?
No, my shoulder
Oh,
blew
okay.
out, and I'm not saying I would have. I mean, it's hard,
Right.
but my shoulder blew out somewhere in between high school and college, and it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
So I, went to school, kept going to school, and finally, don't ask me why, I went to law school, and kind of here I sit, 30 years later.
It's wild,
Yeah.
wild how our path takes us wherever. It's really not our choice. It's what
Doesn't seem like it, does it?
opportunity
Yeah.
and blessings happen, and you're doing good things, and you're doing really good right now. I see you everywhere advertised, and
Yeah,
you
go
got
figure.
your family with you.
Yeah.
and-
Wrote a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What was in the book? What's the book about?
Oh, it's us growing up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, mixed in with some cases, law cases that I've had. But, example which didn't make this book, but because there's, you and I have a million stories.
Sure.
And you can only put so many in the book. But one, which should probably make book number 2 if I have one, is the time where you and Keith were on your bicycles, and me, your brother Mark, and Brian Staley were in the what was that red and white car? The Falcon?
No, they were in the Dodge Swinger. We had the Valiant, but the Valiant was at home. That was the white Dodge Swinger.
All right.
My dad always bought really nice cars for everybody to drive.
So it was over there on Clay and 60. There used to be the 278, the Veterans Building right there on that
Brandon
corner.
Glass and Clay Street.
Right. That's where we're talking.
Yeah.
And so I think we're trying to hit you guys with oranges, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
and we got 3 baseball players that are older than us. We're riding our bikes around Brandon like
Yeah.
innocent little kids. I'm sure
Well,
looking to
I'm
get.
sure.
And then here come the 90-mile-an-hour oranges. That was unbelievable. They had us. We were on bikes. We were trapped on that back road.
Yep.
They
We
were
had you.
going in for the
We were
kill.
going. I was going around like the east side of the building, and your brother in the car was going around the west side. And you hear this, bam! And he ran into a tree.
An oak tree that was back there. Kind of messed it all up.
Oh yeah, no, there was damage.
Well, I remember
A
that.
Spicoli couldn't fix that one.
No. And I thought about that day, and I remember as we were running for our lives, trying to hit the railroad tracks to get somewhere a car couldn't go because we were getting pelted with oranges. I heard the boom, and as soon as I did, Keith goes, "Let's go, it's our time to go." And I go, "Oh no." And I grabbed one, and I started throwing them back at the wrecked car. The only chance we got to bomb them back.
Yeah, that was
So-
funny. Whatever happened, I don't think I know we didn't go home with Mark.
I think he went home by himself. But
I'm
you want
sure.
to know something? And my brother passed away many years ago, but this was the kind of person he was. He went home at, what was that, 16 or 17, y'all were?
Tops. Yeah, tops.
And told the truth.
Yeah.
And he had to pay for it, and he had to fix it, and they went down what was his name? A guy, he owns Corvette Shop and Supplies right now. His name's Mike. And really, they had a little paint shop over there down off Parsons somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I remember
It's
that.
somebody's house.
Oh, okay, I don't remember that.
And he pulled into there, and my brother had to work on it and get it all ready, and then my dad paid a little bit to take care of it and get it fixed. But
Yeah,
it just
God
shows
bless. God bless your parents. I mean, you more or less would go home or whomever, fess up to what happened, and
Yeah.
they just kind of like, well, we got to deal with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't like that. I didn't come home to fess up. You had to have a recorded statement or something,
I
video.
wanted my Miranda rights.
Yeah, they never sent them. It was bad, but you know, when I look back, I think, there was a lot of mistakes there. I think that makes you the person you are today, if you make it through. You know, some people don't. Some
Yeah,
people do.
I mean, the funny part is whether it be driving insane or
Right.
or doing a lot of the things that we did. I would agree because we could have died 100 times over.
Sure.
In any number of
I
different
mean,
ways.
Stupid things out of
Oh.
trees and
And-
lakes and shallow water and head first in shallow swimming pools.
Jumping off of the 4-story tower in Lake Ellen
Yeah.
and bombing each other and broken necks, broken backs. It's just insane. And that's what's in the book.
Yeah.
Back to the book. Stuff like that.
And
You
how
know.
do you get this book, Paul?
I think it's on.
What's the name of it?
It's The Other Side of the Law. But evidently there's a lot of the other sides of the law.
Right.
So you just got to go to like Amazon, type in The Other Side of the Law by Paul Reed, and it pops up.
That's awesome, man.
And it's funny because I look like Men in Black. I got a black suit on, my black tie, and then you guys can't see, but this little Australian Shepherd Millie's over here. She's on the cover.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like I don't know, $15, and yeah, it's stories about growing up
Just
in Brandon.
old times in Brandon.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's kind of how Tales from the Darkside started. I had these guys in here, and of course, anybody who's been in here, T.A. Mahoney, knows fish and animals, and most of them I've gotten myself or I was on the trip. So I'm in here talking to these guys and talking about different stories, and they're on the floor laughing. And I'm telling them like it's no big deal, you know. And
Just another Tuesday.
they said, man, you got to do this. The stories, we've seen it on the radio. I do a radio show for quite a few years with Mike Anderson. A lot of the people that come in here and talk to me about it, it's the stories. And that's really what it is when you think about it. It's the memories, you know.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Writing that book was fun.
I was looking at a video of Jim Shockey, which is probably one of the best hunters, period, that there's ever been. And I think it's called The Hand of Man. And it's a museum of all, I would call them trophies. But when the guy's interviewing him, he said, yeah, I love your trophy room. He said, this ain't a trophy room. He said, this is a memory room. Every one of these has a memory, and that's what I remember about it. It's not necessarily the kill or the trophy itself, but it's who I was with and the experience. And that's really what all them stories are about.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
100%.
Talking about. Let's hear another one from the book.
Oh, from the book.
Were they real good ones, or did you have to take those out? Should I share a few,
Yeah.
or maybe not?
Well, okay. Let's see. One of them was when we were in law school.
Right.
I was fixing to leave and come home forever, and so all I had was you talk about your dad's car. I had Grandpa's Dodge Diplomat.
There you go.
We called it the beater. No, we didn't have money. There was no silver
Right.
spoon.
Right.
So it's whatever I could pack in that car was what was coming home.
Right.
So, we had a house, and it had a futon and beds and just, plates and bowls. And so, believe it or not, I've been known to have a beer.
Right.
Yeah. So on this particular evening, right before we were leaving, we might have had a keg of beer. And so someone got the bright idea, let's just start a fire, right? So we started the fire.
And what's the fire for? Warmth?
No.
Just
no.
a fire.
Yeah, this was July.
Okay.
So we just started a fire.
I'm
and-
liking this one.
And so it go get the futon. So we put the futon on it. And then the futon had a wood floor, so we put that like a pallet.
Yeah.
Put that on. Then computers went on it.
Whatever you weren't
everything
taking,
that wasn't going
burn it.
home, clothes, everything. Next thing you know, we hear this fire truck. And we're in Pasadena, Texas. I don't know if you know Pasadena,
No, I
but
hadn't been there.
it makes Brandon look like a city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
Small.
where they shot, I think, Urban Cowboy with John Travolta in that Gillies bar.
Yep.
But either way, we got this massive fire. We hear the fire truck, and hey, man, fire truck. They're kind of getting closer. I wonder what they're doing.
Never even thought.
Never even considered that they're pulling up to us. They get out, hoses and all, and like, what the heck are you guys doing? We got a fire.
Yeah.
And the guy's angry, to say the least,
I
because
bet.
there's about 4 or 5 of us. Kindle's now cutting down the neighbors' trees to put on the fire.
Oh, good.
And so luckily,
No cops?
no, I don't even know if there were cops in this small little town.
Right.
But luckily, about the time he's fixing to read us the riot act, I guess they got another call. So he's like, put out that damn fire, boy, and I don't want to come back. And off he went, and we kept burning stuff, and finally,
Got rid of all your stuff.
and then left the next morning, and the
Never
rest is
heard
history.
about it.
Yeah.
Big wad of plastic in the yard, probably all
I
that.
can't imagine what was in that pile
Yeah,
that
I'm
somebody had to clean up.
Yeah, I'm sure they
Now,
did.
mind you, the house was $550 a month rent.
Oh,
That tells you
they
anything.
knew what they were getting. That's for sure.
So that one's in there. Another one with you in it, and you remember this because we talked about it, was the time I had remember the 67 Mustang, a Camaro.
Oh, I remember.
It had
good.
tires and engine, and that's it. And
Right.
so Michael and I were in that car, and we were heading on Williams Road. What, go to the mall maybe?
No, I'll tell you exactly
Yeah.
what it was.
What was it?
Because we talked about it the other day. Bob Woodkey had a flat at Capone's Pizza,
Okay.
and that's over by the university. He was going to USF at the time, and he had a flat tire. Brian Staley had his.
Oh,
That big-
Nova, the green Nova.
No, I think he had like a 4-door Impala that the floorboards
No.
would burn your feet. But it could have been a Nova.
I think he had a green Nova.
You had the Camaro. Well, when they looked at me and I said, I'm riding in the Camaro. I probably shouldn't have, but another special experience. What happened?
So we're, if you remember back in the day, when you were on Williams Road coming up to Harney, it dipped down about 8 feet.
Right at the railroad tracks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We were, if I recall, probably listening to some AC/DC song.
It was Highway to Hell, by the way.
And we're racing, and for whatever reason.
We're winning.
Yeah.
We're ahead of everybody.
Yeah, but we came up probably 100 miles an hour and then recognized here's this ramp.
Yeah.
And, well, it was too late all over but the crying.
That
And
was
so,
unbelievable.
So we jumped that.
I'd say we got air,
Yeah.
and it kind of bounced and
Oh,
got
it
air
bounced.
again.
I thought the battery blew up the way the spark shot out from the.
Yeah, that was the battery jumping up and hitting the hood. Probably wasn't tied in.
I'm sure.
The
And,
motor shut off.
Yeah, yep. We had
You
to
know
pull
the
over.
first thing you did?
No.
You pulled the tape out of the tape player and threw it out the window. Said, I ain't listening to it no more. Boom, like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Good times.
But no one died.
That's right.
Yep. And off
And-
we go. That
And
was
we-
funny. That was a
we
good
learned
one.
to look for stop signs when you're
Yeah.
traveling 100 late at night.
Yes.
But everything was good. It was we got I think his car jumped or my brother-in-law's
Something
tire
happened.
back.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
It's kind of funny because I remember sitting there and when he called and said, hey, I got a flat tire, it was like a reason to go somewhere. Everybody sitting there is like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
We'll go save him right now. And we come rolling in like we got entourage for my brother-in-law there.
That was funny. That's a
Good
good one.
times,
Yeah.
man. We got 2 segments of this, Paul.
Okay.
We've been through one of them. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be back with Paul Reed from Reed and Reed, one of our new sponsors. Great family friend, known him forever. We'll be right back. We're back, second segment. Attorney Paul Reed, good family friend from Reed and Reed. I'm sure anybody in the Bay Area has seen the commercials. I've even done a commercial.
You
Rode
have?
around the boat. That
Yep.
was a special one. I'm glad to have an attorney. I had to run close to the pier. Remember that?
I do.
Made it
And
kind
you
of
didn't
nervous.
want to.
Well, I didn't want to do it the second and third and fourth time. I'm always good with one. So sorry about that down at Anna Maria if you were fishing off that pier a few years ago.
So what's the problem with going near the pier other than the people would get angry?
Well, yeah.
But I mean, is it illegal?
There's probably something out there about messing with somebody who's fishing. You know, if they were spectating, which is what they looked like they were doing. I didn't see fishing rods. And I still remember the people that were, I don't want to mention their names and get them in trouble, but they were doing the filming. And she's like, oh, maybe we can go ask permission. And I told her, I'd rather tell somebody I'm sorry than ask permission for something they're going to say no. But it worked out, and I blamed it on Tangles.
Yeah.
Tracy, I said, he was driving the boat. Yeah, that was my boat, but that was him.
hilarious.
That was him running the boat.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was a
one of
good
the
time.
things I remember, Paul, and I've talked to you about this, I was 18, me and your brother living together behind Chuck E. Cheese,
Oh,
and roommates.
that story didn't make the book.
No, we're not going to talk about stories that happened there, okay? There still could be something
Yeah,
going on
I don't
there.
think the statute of limitations is
Count
wrong.
for that, right? So Paul calls me
Oh,
up,
sheesh.
and he says, where's Keith? And I go, I have no idea. He left here an hour ago, said he wouldn't be back till tomorrow. And you go, hey, man, you got $100? And I go, yeah, you know, back then you work all week, get about $200. And I was ready to, hey, good time with half my money. I'm in. Well, Paul told me that he had the sure way to win at the dog track. And if I had $100 and he put his $100, we'd bet together and we'd clean these people out, right? I'm all for it. I said, hell yeah, come pick me up. I think it was the fastest I've ever lost $100 at the dog track. You were betting 5 or 6 bets. There's no way we can lose. This is what you told me. There's only one way we can lose. And right after the race, you go, that was the one way. But you know what? It was a fun time.
Yep.
We got to ride in the Camaro again all the way out. Where was that place at? Oh, Florida Avenue or?
Yeah, the back when Tampa had
Tampa
the dog
had a
track.
dog
Yeah,
track.
Bird Street, Bird and
Yeah.
275.
Special place, I can tell you that.
Yeah, still is.
Yeah, special people in the area. It was a good time, though, and those are the kind of memories that, you know, I cherish and are the best. What's amazing, Paul, is it seems like 40 years goes by in a blink of an eye. I mean, when we look back.
Oh yeah, I'm 58, so 40 was 18. We started at 14, 15. Yeah.
And it just seemed, and you know, wanted to grow up so quick. Myself as a kid, hanging out with my brother's friends and seeing them drive cars and just wishing that time away. You know, and it's almost like now if you had to wish, you'd go back to then.
Oh please.
You know what I mean? But
I mean, how you went to high school? You had 4,400 people at our high school. Yeah,
and that was one high school in Brandon back then. There was no Armwood. There was no Bloomingdale.
Yeah, where do you go now to have a good time with 4,000 friends?
I remember I asked my brother what his graduating class was, and he said 1,700.
Yeah, it was.
I
I
mean,
remember the last.
How long does that take?
Oh, all day.
Yeah.
The last guy was Mark Zorn. That's how long it was, because he got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's over.
Yeah, at USF. Mark Zorn. Oh, thank God.
Yeah. And that back then, there wasn't a lot of schools like you got now.
There were 11.
Yeah.
You're not counting Tampa Catholic or the private schools, but there were
Right.
11.
Plant City was there.
Yeah,
and
Plant City,
Lato.
East Bay, and Brandon were
Yep.
the East Hillsboro.
Yep.
Then you started, south to north was Robinson, Plant. Then you go King, Hillsboro, Jefferson, Lato, and Chamberlain.
That was it.
And Tampa Bay Tech.
Right.
Yeah, because in baseball, we played 20 games. One game with each school
That's right.
away
And home.
game. Yeah.
And then you played divisions and all that.
Yeah.
Such a good time. Brandon, I was talking about it earlier. I think about the old North Brandon back there behind Yates. And
I remember. Yeah, huh? How about
all
that?
the people, your mom did such a great job raising 3 boys, and all 3 of y'all played baseball great. That was one thing they could do, is hit the ball. Keith might not have made it to practice. He was hanging out with me, but he could hit the ball whether he went to practice or not. Run bases, field. It was.
We literally lived at North Brandon.
Yeah.
Mom was the scorekeeper, and we were just there Monday through Saturday.
Right.
Back in the day, people don't realize, Sunday you didn't play ball. It was church. And Wednesday you didn't play ball. It was
Right.
church.
Every other day.
Every other day you were there.
It was on.
And I remember Durwood Harris was our coach for Haverty's, the red
Right.
team. And if it rained, we cried.
Because you couldn't play.
You literally cried because it was raining.
Well, and there was nothing else to do.
Nothing. No, it's baseball season.
Get on your bike and go.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
out
that
of
was
here.
funny.
Yeah, and Brandon's come a long way if you think about it. From when we were there, Parsons was a 2-lane road.
With a stop sign at 60.
Yeah, and there was no lights to speak of.
No.
And we'd ride our bikes all over. I mean, I was thinking about where y'all lived and where my parents lived. We wouldn't hesitate to run over there or run back and forth. But today, you'd be having to give them a ride. You'd worry about them crossing Parsons.
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
know, just-
remember, from our house to y'all's, you would cut through the Morgans.
Yeah.
And remember, they had that little trail, but what was the problem with cutting through the Morgans?
Dogs?
Waldo! Dude, this little boxer he might as well had Satan horns, because he'd sit there and wait. And he'd wait till you were halfway.
You can't get away.
No! Yeah. And it was just and what's funny, there were a lot of dogs in the neighborhood. Over at on the way to the Margisons on Skyview,
Yeah.
they had Shotzi.
Yeah.
This silver Satan dog, like a Doberman Pinscher that wasn't,
Right.
and you had to get by him. Oh hell! Now everybody would be sued. Back then,
Oh.
it was you hold it on one side of the bike and try to pedal while you're fending off Shotzi
Yeah,
or Waldo
that's
or
right.
or one of our dogs. Or
Do you remember the back way to Brandon High School?
well, that was cutting through the VA,
Right.
across the train tracks, and
Well, where that road goes down, they had the 2 Dobermans on the right. And the deal with those Dobermans, me and Burbage,
was that the Cobans?
it could have been.
Yeah.
They were definitely aggressive. I would call them an aggressive dog. Me and Burbage driving and back then, which the kids today don't get to experience it, but they would open up the high school gym in the
yeah.
summer, so kids had a place to go while the parents were working, and that's where
We went.
Yeah, it was time to have fun, and I remember driving there. We figured out those Dobermans, if you didn't look at them, if you just rode by, and it was tough. They're right there where he's at barking, and you rode and didn't look, they'd never leave the yard. You give them one look, they're coming. You better be pumping them.
Well, that's like, remember to cut through the Yates. Did you go to Yates, or did you go
I
to?
did go to Yates.
Okay, to cut through the Yates, at the end of the street at Horseman was the football field,
Right.
and then if you hung a right, there was that yard right there with this mean dog, and you had to jump the fence and jump the other fence to get a very good shortcut to Yates.
Right.
Well, it got to be like someone would go to the left side of the fence and start,
Antagonizing
antagonize
the
him. You jumped the fence and everybody ran, and then
What about the last guy?
well, that was the problem.
He went back home?
Well, no, then you try to get him the other
Oh.
people that had jumped, but this dog got smart.
Yeah.
He'd okay, and then as soon as he'd see you,
Did he ever get anybody?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
But you wouldn't even tell nobody back then a dog
no,
got you,
you're
because
just-
you shouldn't have been in that yard.
Yeah, you're bleeding, and
That's why you
yeah,
got
oh, no
bit.
doubt.
Yeah, it seems
Oh.
like everybody had them back then. Now you got to worry about your dogs being on a leash and
Yeah. Shoot,
wherever you go.
Do you remember Zeke, the Irish setter we had?
I remember the name.
All right, well,
Zeke the Flavor Freak. Is that what you called it? I remember that.
Zeke, this freaking sex addict. So we back then, I love these country songs because they're true. You didn't lock your door.
Right.
And in fact, we took off the screens to the living room so Zeke could come in and out at will.
Where you wouldn't have to let him out.
Right. And so, one day he disappeared for 2 or 3 days, and we thought he was dead. It's like I hadn't seen the dog in 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And then he comes rolling back after that, big bags under his eyes, ate, had a little drink, and slept for, days.
You know what he was doing?
Well, it's funny. A couple of months later,
Bunch of little Zeeks running around the
at the
neighborhood.
door, dog says, the guy comes over here, 8 little puppies. These are your dogs. And he left them.
Y'all were happy as can be, weren't
Oh,
you?
yeah. It's like Zeke looks up like, hey.
Wasn't me. Dude, I have to go on the Springer show.
Yeah, they don't look anything like me.
That baby don't look
He's
like
like, where's
me.
Maury Povich? I'm
was
not
funny.
the father.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was, it was a good time. I can tell you, I do not regret whatsoever growing up in Brandon.
No.
One of the best towns. It's a little different now. A lot of new people in there, but it's still amazing. You go on social media or different sites, or I see people coming in the store, and there's still a lot of those people around from our.
Oh, it's like the beer
area.
tent on
Yeah.
Nativity on Friday. I look
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah.
People you haven't seen, but you see them once a year.
Right.
Yeah, and they show up. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree with
pretty
you.
neat. I try
it was
to
a
get
great
up there.
place to grow up.
You know what the problem with the beer tent is, and myself, it's the middle of hunting season.
Really?
And I'm usually 99% chance. I did go up there probably about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
For a short time. Got to see Billy play. I hadn't seen Billy McKnight in forever. And a lot of the people in there, Bob Woodkey was in
Yeah,
there. I mean,
yeah.
and all those wrestlers and
Ox Baker and his brother,
Man.
the Baker clan. They've
Re-
been around forever.
yeah, they've been around forever. That's for sure. I've seen them all down there, and it's good to see those people. It brings up those memories of what we used to have and what we're doing now. And your office now is right in the middle of Brandon, right?
Yeah, Lumsden and Parsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
The
in
old
there.
Lee Elam's office.
And what do y'all specialize in, Paul?
Personal injury, of course, car accidents are the bread and butter. Dog bites, slip and falls. I literally filed a lawsuit today. A guy's at the hospital and a chair collapsed and he hurt his back. Just so basically, if you're injured due to someone else's negligence, some medical malpractice, nursing homes. Just basically, if you're hurt due to I call it the negligence or the stupidity of somebody else.
Well, and one of the things that, I want people to know my opinion on, I was talking to my mom today about it, and we were talking about, my brother passed away, lawyers had contacted him and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And back then, it was looked at different, but I'm going to tell you something today. Insurance companies, we got to have them, but they're not really your friend.
Oh, zero.
They pay somebody, and I've seen it through our repair business, they pay somebody to try to get it down for less. And I'm going to tell you my own experiences with car accidents. I've never made a penny, and it wasn't my fault. Insurance companies will back out of that stuff to where I'm in a vehicle, not my fault, getting a wreck, and money's coming out of my pocket to fix my vehicle. And that's where you need Paul Reed. If you don't have representation, the first thing they're going to want to do with you, give me a statement. Give me a recorded statement. And I would assume your advice to somebody is talk to somebody like yourself, no matter what happened, whether it's your fault, their fault, you don't know whose fault, have somebody represent you. And an attorney is working for you, not the insurance companies.
No, I agree. It's funny because, you pay for insurance and a lot of money for years and years and years. And it's the only industry that has scared individuals to buy a product and not use it.
Right.
Because, geez, if I make a claim on my insurance, my policy premiums are going to go up for 3 years and I can't afford it. I reckon it's like going to Publix, putting all your food in a cart, taking it up to the counter, paying for the food, they bag up the food, and you leave without your food.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like.
I mean,
in
it's
case
like-
you need food. And then when you need,
Need
food,
food.
you're going to starve.
Wow, if you take this food, the next time you come back, that food's going to be 5
Yeah.
times the amount it is now. Well, I don't want that food.
And that's what they want you to think. It amazes me, the hurricanes we've had here, and how it will affect people that have never put in a claim. Somebody who's west of 75, all of a sudden we don't cover you anymore because of hurricanes, and they've never put a claim in. So they definitely aren't watching that. Insurance is there to take care of you if something happens. My go-to.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. On that note, talking about hurricanes, the floods in California, I read, and I don't know if it's true, but let's just assume it is, less than 10% of the people have flood insurance. Well, your regular homeowner's insurance isn't going to cover it. So they're all screwed.
Yeah, and that's crazy because
Because-
and I even said that to our insurance company. I said, how can you weasel out of giving me flood? I want my house insured. Somewhere along the lines, they've let them sell that as extra.
Correct.
And that's where, in my eyes, if you got insurance that covers this building, it covers this building. If it's an act
Well,
of God,
but
if
for
it's any of that.
but for fire, wind, or flood,
Right, right. And
everything else you're covered.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's sad.
And that's what's good about Paul. Anytime I've ever needed advice, I give Paul a call. He's always steered me the right way. My partner, Matt Slapp, he's used his advice and said, I don't handle those cases, and he sent me off, but it always went to somebody good. My first call, I'd recommend Reed and Reed. They're good people. Let them know what's going on. He's going to guide you the right way. He's not looking for, he's got more than one case in Hillsborough County right now. I promise you that.
It's funny you say that because like marital law, family law.
Right.
People will call, and I did it a couple times. I'll never do it again. It's too emotional.
Right.
But I'll call now and they'll say, yeah, if you want to lose your house, your kid, your dog, and your money, I'm your man.
Yeah.
Other than that, you call A, B, or C, you know.
Right.
And criminal law, yeah, if you want to go to prison, I'll help you.
Yeah.
But, because, it's like the jack of all trades. You know a little about a lot of things.
That's right.
Well, I don't. I know a lot about one thing, and that's
Right.
the personal injury. And you don't want your lawyer to know a little bit about everything.
That's right.
because he's going to go up or she's going to go up against that person. That's all they do.
Right.
And you're going to end up probably not faring well.
Well, and I can tell you from my experience, I'm not somebody who's been in, not recently anyway, a lot of trouble where I need attorneys. I've done some real estate transactions, and I'll be honest with you, I did not deal with a real estate person. I
No.
dealt with an attorney, and I felt like the attorney had my interest in him, was the main thing, and that's why I'm going to continue to do things that way and at least consult with somebody. My recommendation, T.A. Mahoney, is with Reed and Reed. Paul, I appreciate you coming out
No,
today.
thanks for having us. Now, the fellas in the background, did my Australian Shepherd make an appearance? That's
Yeah.
that's Millie Light, L-I-T-E.
All right.
Millie Light Reed.
Millie's going to be big time. She's going to be famous like her daddy.
She loves coming to the office.
Good
Yeah,
deal,
when I
man.
get up in the morning, she jumps in the car at about 4:30. The damn dog can tell time.
I
Because
bet.
at about 4:30, she's like, "Let's go. It's time to go. We got to beat the traffic."
Right.
And she's a piece of work.
How does, give us your website out real quick, Paul.
Need, NEEDREED.com. Needreed.com. Like, you
Great.
need Reed.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're over there in Brandon
Yep.
off Lumsden.
Correct.
Great, man.
Yeah, and stop in anytime. Stop in, say hi, say hello to Millie. She'll greet you at the door.
We may get him on some video this year in Louisiana. Paul's going to venture up there with his son and hopefully catch some big fish. But,
Yeah.
Paul, I appreciate you coming out,
Catch
buddy.
a whale.
Yeah, there you
No,
go.
thanks for having us. It was a great time.
Yep. We'll see y'all next time. We'll have one coming up soon.